is Chef Candace on a new episode of Dished. Today we are going to do one of my favorites for the autumn season, an apple walnut salad with Dijon vinaigrette. Beautiful. Very simple, very easy. Let's get started. So we have all of our ingredients. We have, of course, the apples, which you need for the apple walnut part of this salad, as well as the walnuts. We have some yummy goat cheese, dried cranberries, baby arugula, and some mixed greens with it as well. And then we have our ingredients for the Dijon vinaigrette, which we'll get into a bit later. But let's get started with the salad bit. So I'm going to start with our base, which will be the mixed greens. They are already thoroughly washed, so no need to worry about any dirt or any particles that will be on your greens. I'm going to place this in the bowl. Actually, I'll put it right on the cutting board. So let's get our mixed greens in there. Now, mixed greens, you can use whichever greens you'd like. So with the purposes of calling mixed greens mixed, it's because you don't just have one base of your greens. So some people might like to just have, say, just arugula or just kale. But for this salad, we're doing a mix. So I have spinach and arugula, but of course you can make your mixed greens part of the salad any way you'd like. I love a yummy kale. Some people just like your standard lettuce with kale and maybe mix in a little bit of red cabbage in it, whatever you'd like. We have our green base, and then what we are going to add next is the apple part, right? You can't have an apple walnut salad without the apples. We have some apples that have already been pre-sliced. I'm gonna take out about 3. That should be enough. Here we go, we're gonna cut that. So I'm cutting it in the middle. Actually, I'm just gonna cut it in some strips right here to make it a bit easier, as we are going to cut in smaller chunks. So I think we're gonna do another bit of apple. So I'm gonna do the claw just so you can see how I do it. So we're gonna cut in strips first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to switch it to the side, keep that claw movement going. And we have our small cubes. Very simple. I think that's enough apples. This looks really good. If you like apples and you want to cut just one more, go for it. But I think we have a really good mixture with the mixed greens as well as the apples. And then we are going to put our walnut pieces. Walnut is so autumn coated. When it comes to nuts, walnuts, almonds, I love peanuts, but walnuts just have a certain nuttiness to it, a certain very distinct flavor. So when you taste it, you get a bite of the walnut in this salad, it just really hits right, especially with the sweetness and the tanginess of the apples. So we're just going to sprinkle some of these walnut pieces here. Now these pieces are already crushed a bit from a local grocery store where I picked them up. Some of you might like whole walnuts. It really is up to you, whatever you decide to do, but we're just gonna put some more. I love walnuts, so I'm just putting a bit more in here. Oh, that looks beautiful already. We have our nice textures, our nice colors too. We have our greens, our browns, our reds. We're giving a real nice autumn flavor to this salad. I'm gonna actually mix this just a bit. I'm gonna get a spoon. I wanna just do a little bit of mixing and use my hands as well. For now, we're probably gonna do a bit more mixing when we get to the vinaigrette part, but just wanna do that to start. So we have 2 more ingredients left. We have our goat cheese and our cranberries. I'm gonna leave the cranberries for last, and then I'm gonna get to the goat cheese part of all of this. Oh, it smells so good. I love cheese. I'm a cheese girly, so if you haven't already guessed, I love me some good cheese. Goat cheese is not as crumbly as some other cheeses. It's much more softer, so you just want to be careful how much you're cutting. I'm going to do, let's see, a little bit here. So I'm going to cut this like this, and as you can see, it's extremely creamy, but that's okay. This looks gorgeous so far. Last but not least of our ingredients for the salad bit are dried cranberries. Now, if you are someone that's trying to watch your sugar, there are 50. I saw some cranberries, some dried cranberries that had less sugar in it in my local grocery store. I'm just using your standard regular dried cranberries, but if you'd like to watch your sugar intake, certainly you can customize to your liking and what you need for your daily intake of certain vitamins and minerals. So that's the beauty of certain fruits like dried cranberries. You can find alternatives such as 50% sugar. I don't think there are cranberries without sugar because it is a fruit, but you have some options there if that's something that you're really taking heed of. So I am just sprinkling, I'm gonna put a dash more of these cranberries right on top. This is going to taste so beautiful. You have so much richness, robustness, flavor with the sweet, the tangy, the salty. There's not really much heat in this just yet, but the heat will be coming with our vinaigrette, which we're gonna get into. So I'm gonna place my salad on the side. With the vinaigrette part, now there's only 3 simple ingredients for making a Dijon vinaigrette. I have my EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. I have what is also known as our ACV, best known as apple cider vinegar. And we also have our Dijon mustard. Now I have one of the classic greats, Grey Poupon, made with a little dash of white wine. Love this stuff. So this is all that we're gonna need. Very simple, very easy, just 3 ingredients to make your own homemade Dijon vinaigrette. So when you're thinking, oh, I have to go to the grocery and buy a vinaigrette to make this all come together, you can make your own. Very simple, just 3 ingredients. And in fact, you can use this for other salads too, which is amazing. So I'm gonna place these on the side because we need to put each of them in our little teeny bowls, and then we're gonna mix everything together. So this is where some measurement might come into play. Sometimes I might not use measuring spoons. I kind of like to test things out, but I wanna just give you all just a standard tip when you are making this vinaigrette of how much of teaspoons or tablespoons you might need. So, and then you can always eyeball it, but because we're trying to learn more about how to cook at home and using certain ways to measure, I think this will be good as a starter base for this ingredient or for this recipe. So what I'm gonna actually do is I have 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of the ACV or apple cider vinaigrette in one of these bowls. And then I'm eyeballing it to see, will that be enough? Most likely not. So I'm actually gonna do 1 more tablespoon. So we have about 2 tablespoons of the ACV. And as I measure out the other ingredients for this vinaigrette, I'm gonna see if that's enough. It might not be enough, but we'll check it out. We're thinking like scientists at this point when it comes to this part of the recipe. So now I have half tablespoons, and this is of the EVOO, the extra virgin olive oil. I might actually end up using all of the EVOO. I didn't want to put too much because I really didn't want this vinaigrette to be too oily. Sometimes too much is honestly too much. So we have half tablespoon. So I did 2 1/2 tablespoons. I'm doing another half of a tablespoon. I think that's going to be enough for now. And then we have our honey mustard. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of this, of the Dijon. I said honey, I meant Dijon, but I love them both the same. Okay, so that's a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do another 1/4 teaspoon of this. I think that'll actually be enough of the spiciness factor. When it comes to this part of the vinaigrette with your mustard, I believe you don't wanna do too much of it. You don't want to overpower the flavor and the taste of the vinaigrette. Even if you're someone that's thinking, oh, I need a whole bunch of mustard, it might not be too much. I think in the case of this, you just want a little bit to make it just flavorful enough without really taking over the entire taste of all the other ingredients that you have in the salad. I'm gonna put it all together in this bowl. And you know what? If I have one part of this ingredient of the vinaigrette that's too little, I'm just gonna add a little bit more. No harm, no foul. All right, so I put the ACV there and EVOO. I definitely think I have enough of the oil, which is great. I'm gonna mix it all in this bowl. As you can see, it's all gelling together. This is like a little science experiment. You see how everything's coming together, the oil, the Dijon mustard, the ACV, and it's looking like your standard vinaigrette that you would buy at a grocery store. It looks completely gourmet. This is gorgeous. That's what I think. I think this is actually great. I think this is gonna be good. I don't want to put a ton of this vinaigrette on the salad. I think this will just be enough. So here's your salad. We're gonna drizzle it like so. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, so last bit is I am going to mix this together once more. I'm gonna use 2 forks for this, for the mixing. If you don't have tongs, or if you're not a tongs person, you can just use 2 forks, 2 spoons. Lightly mix it together. Everything's coming beautifully in this bowl. All the flavors, I can just taste it already. Wonderful, wonderful. And you want to do a light mix. You don't want to be too heavy-handed when it comes to mixing in the bowl with your salad. Now we are ready to plate. So we have our apple walnut salad with the Dijon vinaigrette already mixed in. Looks beautiful, delicious. We are going to place this on our plum colored plate. Right here. I'm being so precious as I plate this, but I like a good plating scheme. With the way that I've mixed this, as you can see, all of the actual apples and walnuts and the cranberries are coming out on top, which is exactly how I had hoped that this would come out for the plating. So I couldn't have asked for a better plating situation. So I am covering the entire middle part of the plate. We have a lot of salad here, heaping mounds. We love to see it. For the last but not least portion of this, I'm going to add some crackers to the side. So we have some of our garlic thyme crackers. I'm just going to crumble them up in some pieces, or break them in pieces rather, and I'm just going to lightly, in fact, I'll put them in the front. Just gonna put some there. There you go. So that is our apple walnut salad with a tasty Dijon vinaigrette and some crackers on the side. Thank you all so much for watching this latest episode of Dished. I am Chef Candace. When you're talking real estate, you're talking money down, you're talking Down Money Media. I'm Chef Candace, and this has been Dished.